Welcome back, deep divers. Today we are diving headfirst into the world of blockchain. But hold on, because we're not just talking about the tech itself. We're going deeper. We're going to explore how a community is trying to build a sustainable future for their project. Get ready as we unpack Allium and how it empowers the Taraxan community.
It's a fascinating case study of how blockchain communities are exploring innovative ways to fund projects and ensure long-term growth. The Taraxan community in particular is working on a blockchain protocol called Taraxa, and they're trying to tackle a challenge many projects face, keeping the lights on and keeping the innovation flowing. Their answer is this intriguing concept called Allium.
Okay, so Allium is their solution. From what I understand, it's all about funding, but with a unique twist. It's not your typical crowdfunding campaign, right?
You hit the nail on the head. Allium is their community-driven funding model, but the real genius lies in what they call the Allium infinite loop. Imagine a wheel that never stops turning.
Okay, now you've got me intrigued. Break this infinite loop down for us. How does it work?
Picture this. Taraxans pool their resources together in community campaigns, and they have the power to decide what gets funded. Whether it's developing new applications or spreading the word about Taraxa or forming strategic partnerships, it all boils down to what the community truly values.
So it's like crowdfunding, but laser-focused on what the community itself prioritizes. That's a pretty cool concept.
Precisely. Now here's where the loop part comes into play. The projects that receive funding are strategically designed with revenue generation in mind, whether it's through successful applications or strategic partnerships or other innovative models.
Okay, I think I see where this is going. They take that revenue and
They reinvest it right back into Allium, fueling the next wave of community campaigns. It's a self-sustaining ecosystem where new projects lead to more revenue, which then fuels even more projects, hence the infinite loop.
So they're aiming for a perpetual motion machine of funding. We both know those only work in a perfect world. What could make this sputter out in the real world?
You're right, it's a bold bet. It hinges on a few things. First, the projects they choose need to be more than just cool tech. They need a solid path to actually generating revenue. And that's tough in the ever-shifting landscape of blockchain. Secondly, the community needs to stay engaged for the long haul. It's easy to get excited at the start, but maintaining that momentum is key.
It's like a car. You need a good engine to get moving, but you got to keep filling the tank to reach your destination.
Exactly. And the fuel in this case is community engagement. The Taraxans need to find ways to keep people interested, invested, and actively participating. That means clear communication transparency and ensuring everyone feels like they have a voice.
Okay, so community buy-in is critical. But let's zoom out for a moment. What are the broader implications of this Allium model?
What fascinates me is the potential for a paradigm shift. Imagine a future where community-driven funding and governance become the norm. Allium provides a tangible model for achieving those goals.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new kind of digital democracy where users have a real say in how a project evolves.
Precisely. But let's be real, this whole thing is still an experiment. There are bound to be bumps in the road, lessons to be learned.
Absolutely. There's always a flip side. What
Yeah.
could throw a wrench in the works? What are some of the potential downsides or challenges they might encounter?
One potential hurdle is maintaining that consistent community engagement we talked about. It's easy to get excited at the start of something new, but keeping that momentum going long-term, that's the real challenge.
Because it's easy to get excited at the start of something new, but keeping that momentum going long-term, that's the real challenge.
Exactly. The Taraxan community will need to find ways to keep people interested, involved, and invested in the long haul. This could mean constantly seeking new ways to make participation rewarding and ensuring that everyone feels like their voice is heard.
So communication and transparency are key. Keep those lines open and make sure everyone feels like they're a part of the journey. But it's not just about keeping the community happy, right? The projects themselves need to succeed.
Right? It's not enough to just have cool ideas. They need a solid strategy for turning those ideas into profitable ventures that can sustain the ecosystem.
So let's dive into that. What kinds of projects are we talking about here? Give us some concrete examples.
Imagine a decentralized marketplace for freelancers, kind of like a blockchain-powered Upwork or Etsy. That could generate revenue through transaction fees or premium features for freelancers or clients. You get the idea.
Okay, so they're tapping into the gig economy, but with a decentralized twist. What else?
Or, picture this, a project focused on supporting the validators who are essential for securing the Taraxa network. These validators earn rewards for their work, and a portion of those rewards could be channeled back into Allium fueling the loop further.
It's like building a self-sustaining ecosystem where the success of individual projects directly contributes to the overall growth of the community. But let's face it, not every project is going to be a home run. What happens if something they fund falls flat?
That's where their strategy gets even more interesting. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. By diversifying their investments across a variety of projects with different revenue models and target audiences, they mitigate the risk of any single failure.
To spread the love, spread the risk. It's a classic investment strategy, but applied to the world of blockchain.
Exactly. And remember, they're not just throwing money at any idea that comes along. The community plays a very active role in evaluating and selecting projects, ensuring they align with the overall vision and have a realistic path to sustainability.
It's like a venture capital fund, but with the collective wisdom of the community guiding the investment decisions.
Precisely. And because it's community-driven, there's an inherent incentive for transparency and accountability. Every Taraxan has a vested interest in seeing their funds used wisely and their projects succeed.
That makes sense. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the human element. We've discussed the tech and the funding, but none of this works without the Taraxans themselves, right? How do they actually participate in this whole Allium ecosystem?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of what makes Allium so unique. You don't need to be a blockchain whiz or a coding guru to get involved.
That's a relief. My coding skills are pretty limited, to be honest.
Your skills could still be incredibly valuable to the community. Remember, we talked about the importance of marketing outreach and creating engaging content.
Right. So someone like me could contribute by writing articles or creating videos or spreading the word about Taraxa and the cool projects being funded through Allium.
Exactly. You could even help organize online or in-person events, translate materials for a global audience, or simply share your expertise and knowledge with the community. There are countless ways to contribute.
It sounds like they're really trying to create a space where everyone feels empowered to participate, regardless of their technical expertise. That's pretty refreshing, actually.
It is, and that sense of inclusivity is crucial for long-term sustainability. The more people feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, the more invested they'll be in its success.
Okay, so we've got a community, a funding model, and a shared vision. But how do they measure success? What does a thriving Allium ecosystem actually look like?
That's a question worth pondering. For me, a thriving Allium ecosystem would be a hive of activity with new projects launching regularly, a diverse range of skills and expertise being shared, and a palpable sense of excitement and momentum within the community.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about the energy, the collaborative spirit, the feeling that they're building something truly special together. Kind of like that buzz you get at a really great hackathon, but sustained over the long term.
Exactly. And of course, tangible results matter too. We'd want to see those funded projects gaining traction, attracting users, and generating revenue that gets pumped right back into the ecosystem. Growth is good.
Makes sense. But let's zoom out to that big picture view again. We've talked about Allium as an experiment, a potential model for other blockchain projects. What are the broader implications here? What does this tell us about the future of blockchain governance and community ownership?
What's fascinating here is the potential for a paradigm shift. We often think of blockchain projects as being driven by anonymous developers or faceless corporations. But Allium flips that script. It puts the power directly in the hands of the community, the people who are actually using and benefiting from the technology.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new kind of digital democracy, where users have a real say in how a project evolves. But isn't that what blockchain was supposed to be about all along? Decentralization, empowerment, all that jazz.
In theory, yes. But in practice, it's often fallen short of that ideal. Many projects still struggle to find sustainable funding models and decision-making processes that truly reflect the will of the community. What Allium offers is a tangible working model for how to achieve those goals.
It's like they're providing a blueprint for other blockchain projects to follow a roadmap for building truly community-owned and operated ecosystems. But let's be real, this whole thing is still an experiment. There are bound to be bumps in the road, lessons to be learned. What do you think the biggest challenges will be for the Taraxan community moving forward?
Maintaining that delicate balance between ambition and sustainability will be crucial. It's exciting to dream big and chase after every promising opportunity. But they'll also need to be pragmatic about resource allocation and make sure they're not spreading themselves too thin.
It's that classic startup dilemma, right? Grow too fast and you risk imploding, but play it too safe, and you might miss out on game-changing opportunities.
Exactly. Another challenge will be navigating the regulatory landscape, which, as you know, is still catching up with the breakneck pace of blockchain innovation.
Ah, yes, the ever-present regulatory uncertainty that looms over the crypto world, always lurking in the shadows.
Indeed. They'll need to be proactive about compliance and ensure they're operating within the bounds of the law, which can be a moving target at times.
For sure. It's like trying to hit a bullseye while riding a roller coaster. But if they can navigate these challenges successfully, what do you see as the long-term potential for Allium and for the Taraxan community?
If this model proves successful, and that's a big if, it could have a ripple effect throughout the blockchain industry. Imagine a future where community-driven funding and governance become the norm, where users have a real stake in the platforms they use every day.
It's a powerful vision for the future of the internet, really. More democratic, more equitable, and ultimately more beneficial for everyone involved. It's exciting stuff.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the ingenuity and collaborative spirit that make the blockchain space so captivating. Whether Allium achieves its full potential remains to be seen, but it's undoubtedly a development worth watching closely.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking innovations aren't just about the technology itself, but about the ways in which we choose to use it and the communities we build around it. This Allium thing is definitely one for the watch list, folks. So if you were a Taraxan, what would you want to see funded through this Allium system? What possibilities get your gears turning? Let us know. Until next time, keep those deep dive suggestions coming.